is we're going to be able to look at these characters based on how they're described, what they say, what they do, and what they think. I want you to know this so you can track this as you're reading. Okay? Questions? Setting. Setting is where and when a story is. Okay? So when you look at this, it says the location, that's the where. We have to know geographic location. It could be country, it could be generic, like in a farmhouse, or on a farm, in the city, or it could be Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. But we have to know where a story is set, and that's going to help us understand it better. We also need to know when it is set. And you'll notice that there are two whens. Right? The time period, is it now, is it the future, is it the past? That makes a difference. And also time of day. If it's in the morning, if it's at noon, if it's at night. We expect different things based on the description of the setting. Weather is on there as well, because weather can be integral to a plot, or I'm sorry, to a setting. If I'm about to tell you a story and I start with once upon a time, what type of story am I going to tell you? A fairy tale. When does that fairy tale happen? Long, long ago. Right? Now think about this. What is it? Is it long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away? Wait a second, that's kind of interesting. If something happened long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, how are we in the future? We have to know these things so that we understand the story better. If I say it's a dark and stormy night, what kind of story am I going to tell you? A scary story. Because scary stories happen at night. Scary things happen during storms. So we teach kids how this works so that they can know what to expect when they're reading. Now you notice at the top that it says integral or backdrop versus integral. Sometimes the setting matters. Sometimes it doesn't. Yes? Point of view. The point of view, very simply, is who's telling the story. It could be first person. If it's first person, who's telling the story?
You yourself.
I am? Or the narrator?
It'll say I.
It'll say I. The narrator will tell the story. So if I just turn to I'll turn to the first page of our text. I shouldn't have come to this party. Who's telling the story? The narrator. So this is a first person narrative. The question is, does that make a difference? I'm going to argue, yeah, it's going to make a difference. Because if you're reading it, I did this, I did that, it's very easy for the reader to insert themselves into the role of the narrator. If it's they did that, they did this, it's very easy to distance yourself from the narrator. These are choices that are made. So then we have omniscient and limited omniscient. So these are third-person narratives, third-person narrators. Omniscient means that it's like the all-knowing, all-seeing eye. Right? Omniscient means knows everything. If that's the case, then the narrator knows it all and tells it all to you as the narrator. In limited omniscient, it means that you're only going to get the thoughts of a couple of characters. Right? Usually we get, these are big sweeping epics, the omniscient narrator. Limited omniscient is a little less deep. Objective is usually what we get from picture books. It's like a news report. You get the who, what, when, where, why, how, that's it. There's no real thought behind it. But it makes a difference on how well you can identify with the story. And then finally we have theme, right? Theme is the lesson, the meaning. Now I want you to pay particular attention to this because you're all writing a paper about theme at the end of our lit circles. The theme is what lesson can you learn from the story? It's what's the difference between explicit and implicit?
Implicit, isn't that when like the theme is inferred from the story that you're reading, and then explicit is when you like it's like in the text, like you read it and it comes from the text, but implicit you have to infer.
Yes. So an explicit theme is stated. It's stated very clearly in the story. I don't know if you've read the book Wonder or seen the movie Wonder. If you haven't, you should do both because they're very, very good. But there's a tagline for Wonder the movie called choose. It says #choose kind. That's the theme. The theme of the book is stated. When given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kind. That's the theme of the book, and it's stated in the text. That's an explicit theme. An implicit theme is inferred. You have to come up with it. So at the end of reading The Hate U Give, you're going to have to tell me what is the theme of the book. Please do not mistake theme for motif. Like love is a motif. Hate is a motif. Right? Those things. This is a book about friendship. No. That's not a theme. Theme is a lesson that you can learn. Like, friends stick with you through thick and thin. Being nice is the best thing you can be. Like, whatever. You can come up with a statement for theme. Now, I will remind you that your paper on theme, remember you're writing a 3 to 5 page paper on theme where you have to tell me what the theme is and then identify 5 scenes throughout the book that supports your argument. This is called a text-dependent analysis, which you will teach if you teach in the state of Pennsylvania. So, before you start reading the book, go back on Bolt and read what you're going to have to do for your theme paper. That way you can start taking notes even before you start. Please do so. I'm trying to help you be successful in their life. Okay. I'm good? I can do this. Narratives or stories, nonfiction texts are informational. So the books, when you see an informational text, there are a lot of different formats. There are also several different text structures. We might come back to this, but I want to make sure that we understand, we can differentiate between what is an informational text and what is a narrative. You can see here, these are the 5 different expository text structures. Can I get through that? Let's see if we do this now. Description is very simple. It's a book that describes. Pretty easy, right? If it's a book about plants, it'll say a plant is this. Here are the parts of a plant, and this is what those parts do. Sequencing is the second structure. Sequencing, what do you think sequencing is? Go in a sequence, which means? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. What is a nonfiction text that where you might find sequencing? How-to. Sorry? How-to. A how-to book. What else? A cookbook. Directions on how to put something together is a nonfiction text using sequencing. Again, if our students know that it's a how-to book with sequencing, they'll know how to read it. They know that you have to start at step 1 and then move to step 2, because if you start at step 4, you're not going to do well. So just show them how it works. With a descriptive text, you don't necessarily have to start on page 1 and move all the way through. You can jump around based on what you need. The same thing with comparison. A comparison, you know that you're going to have at least 2 things described so that you can draw a comparison.